In this video, I'm going to walk through how to improve the speed and SEO for your Shopify store. And at the end, I'm going to explain one app that can handle basically 95% of this for you. The first thing you want to do, if you're doing this manually, is to make sure you have your image optimization set up correctly. And this would be things like compressing your images, implementing modern image formats, and enable lazy loading for your images. Now, if you don't understand how to do these elements, that's totally fine. Like I said, there is an app that can handle the majority of this for you, which I'll explain more as well. Next part is optimizing your JavaScript and CSS. And this would include JavaScript minification, deferring non-critical JavaScript, and also file combination. Now, I have all this additional information in here in case you want to do this manually and learn about what needs to go into each of these processes. But if you don't, that's totally fine. Again, there are softwares or apps, in this case, from a Shopify perspective, that can solve many of these issues for you. Next part would be to leverage browser caching. And within here, you want to make sure to set the cache headers, cache static resources, implement e-tags, and then monitor and adjust and test your speed based on the implementation of these different elements to ensure you are actually improving the speed as you're adding in and changing these elements. Because if not, then obviously you'd want to switch things up and modify the process with how you're handling these. Next part would be implementing a CDN or content delivery network. Now, Shopify does have a built-in CDN, which you can use, but if you're looking for a more advanced integration, you could use something like Cloudflare, and that can also provide an additional layer of security for your site, depending on how much traffic you have and how large your site size is. And then lastly, step 5 would be to optimize your theme and your code. And this would be things like cleaning up your theme code, making sure you're using it, and then prioritizing content above the fold on your site. And if you're unfamiliar what above the fold is, it would be the part of content or the part of the website that you can see before you need to scroll your mouse to get lower on the page. The app recommendation is Avada SEO Speed Image Optimize. I'm not associated with this. I just was doing some additional research for you and found this app that has extremely high rating, tons of reviews, and handles the majority of the elements that are impactful for Shopify site speed. And you can go to the app here and check this out, but you can see all of the different elements it takes care of. And as a checklist, if we go back to the presentation here, it handles image optimization. It compresses images, uses modern formats and lazy loading. It minimizes and optimizes JavaScript and CSS. So it minifies files, defers non-critical JavaScript, combines files, leverages browser caching for you, and caches static resources. And it also optimizes theme code for you. The only part it does not do is using a content delivery network. And the reason for that primarily is because Shopify has one built in, and you could, like I said before, use something like Cloudflare or a different content delivery network if you need something else and something a little bit more robust. Now, the other piece of info from a CDN perspective, if you are adding static assets, would be to make additional customization within the code. And what I want to walk through here is how to move files to the Shopify CDN if you're uploading files manually. So you may have already noticed that the majority of the resources on your store already come from cdn.shopify.com. So it's already on the Shopify CDN. Now this is because both files inside the themes asset directory and images you upload in the admin panel are automatically optimized and served from the CDN. For everything else, like external code dependencies or hard-coded images, you need to follow these steps below. And this is from, just for reference, Shopify Web Performance blog here. So here are the steps. If you're developing a theme, put the files inside the assets directory. To get there, you would go to Online Store, then your themes, and then you'd click Actions or the 3 dots, and then go to Edit Code. And then you scroll down to the assets directory in the sidebar and click Add New Asset. And you can either create a file in here or upload a file. And after you do that, what you would want to do is change its reference in the theme code shown below. So before, it may reference an external domain for your style document, for your script, and for any images. What you would want to do is to instead change the code to add in these elements here that I'm highlighting so that it does not reference an external domain. And of course, if you're making these code changes, you want to test this prior to launching it live and make sure that the file type and the file name matches correctly with what you're changing in the code section. By implementing this, you should likely see a nice performance boost, depending on how many instances of static images or static files you're adding to the site. And that would be the top 5 steps as a quick summary would be image optimization, minimize and optimize your JavaScript and CSS, leverage browser caching, use a content delivery network or CDN, and then optimize your theme and your code. If you have all of these elements in place, your site should be set up structurally from a speed perspective to rank well and be ready for optimization so that you can start getting more traffic from your site. And that's it. Hopefully you got some value from this, and I'll see you in the next one.